Okay, hi everyone. So this week's topic is based on air masses, mid-latitude cyclones, and weather maps. So an air mass is an immense body of air, and it's characterized by its moisture content and temperature. They are typically 1,000 miles or more wide, and it's classified by its source region. So there are four basic types that you'll see here in this diagram. We have maritime polar air masses, continental polar air masses, meaning that these air masses tend to be cold air masses, and they originate from the high latitudes. And depending whether it's maritime or continental, maritime meaning that the air mass is formed over the ocean, and continental meaning that it's formed over land. So that's why these air masses are characterized like that. And then we have maritime tropical air masses and continental tropical air masses. So maritime and continental, the same meaning, that it is formed over the ocean, formed over land, but the tropical air mass, it's basically saying that it's formed from, it originates in the low latitudes, and they tend to be warm air masses. So fronts, they are boundaries that separate different air masses. So a front is formed when the air mass associated with the front moves faster than the other air mass. There are three types of fronts. We have the warm front, where warm air occupies territory of the former cooler air. And as you can see here, we have the warm front, and it's moving faster than the cool air mass. And so along the front, you have warm air rising, and there's moderate precipitation. And then in the cold front, dense cold air mass advancing into a region of warmer air. So this dense cold air mass, it creates a wedge, and this forces the warm air to rise, creating heavy precipitation. So in both cases, the warm front and the cold front, the warm air is always rising. And then an occluded front means that the cold front overtakes a warm front. As you can see in this diagram, the cold front has caught up to the warm front, and it's creating this symbology. And mid-latitude cyclones, so it's a low pressure system, and they travel from west to east, and they last a few days to more than a week, and most contain a warm and a cold front, as you can see here. And it can develop an occluded front, so when this cold front catches up to this warm front, that's when an occluded front will show up. So for the next slide, you guys will be working on weather data for this quiz. So this is the coding system of it, and I just wanted to go over it. So this symbology right here, it's telling you what the wind speed and the wind direction. So the tip of this long line right here that's extending out, it's telling you the direction from which the wind is traveling from. So it's pointing in this direction, so it's coming from the northwest, which I have put here, northwest. And the lines that are extending out right here in this direction, they're telling you the wind speed. So a long line has a value of 10, and the short line has a value of 5. So you'll be adding these two values to find the wind speed, which is 15 in this case. And then I also want you guys to put the full form of the air pressure. So for this weather data, it has the shortened form 107, but you'll be following this code, this rule. So numbers that begin with 0 to 4, you would add 10, and 5 to 9, you would add 9 to the front. So in this case, our number begins with a 1, so this is going to have a 10 in the front, 10, 10, 7, but also a decimal before the last number, so that's why it's 10, 10.7. And then pressure trend, it's -6, and this symbology right here, it means falling then steady. So I want you guys to refer to the lab manual to look at the other diagrams that break down each coding system so you could understand what it means. And lastly, for your quiz, you guys will be working with this map, and it's showing you the weather data. And what's important is for you guys to look at the symbology. So again, look at this symbology, the wind direction and wind speed. It's coming from southwest, and the wind speed looks like it's a 10 in the southern part of the United States. But in the northern part of the United States, we see that the wind speed and wind direction is different. Like here, we have the wind direction coming from the west, and the wind speed looks like it's 30 knots. So also the importance of this map is that it wants you to find out where the cold front and the warm front is. So I have created different images of the cold front and warm front. You guys just have to find the correct one and then answer the questions associated with the warm front and cold front. So for example, one of your questions would be, what is the highest temperature behind the warm front? I want you guys to look at the air temperature, and the air temperature in this case, it's the green colored number. And so look at the green colored numbers to answer that question, because the brown colored numbers, they are dew point temperatures. So yeah, so that's how you guys would interpret this map. So thank you everyone for watching, and have a nice week.